Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's intuitive tapping break. Come on in, get settled. We are going to be doing an interesting topic today on the pressure that we put on time and how those limitations are not actually giving us permission and space to expand in the way that we think we might be needing or wanting it. So today's affirmation or the question or the prompt that we are going to begin with is when I release pressure, what becomes possible? So you can definitely use this for time specifically, which is what we're going to be talking about a little bit more here today in this tapping session. Or you can apply it to relationships that you're having. You can apply it to specific relationships with people in your life, relationships that you have within yourself, with your body, with your emotions, with your beliefs. You can apply this to money stuff. You can apply this to your business. When you release the pressure, when you relieve that pressure, what becomes possible? So this stemmed from a conversation that was brought up in the energy-led mompreneur space, my membership community, last week when we were kind of tuning into the energy of the last quarter moon, as well as the brand new month of February emerging and beginning. And so what happened was there was this thought around, I added this thought that, it's when we put limitations on our time, when we put, you know, constriction or restraint or restrictions on time. For example, if we want to expand and grow and move to the next level in some part of our life, we can tend to go towards, if I only had X amount of time to live, what would I do then? How would I be? What would I do? What would be important to me? What would be the priority? And how would I adjust my actions according to that energy? And what came up for me personally within that was I don't like that question. I don't subscribe to that. I know that there's a level of pressure that needs to be applied to getting things done in a certain way. But when you constrict or when you restrain your infinite potential, you are going to be constricted and restrained in what you're expanding into, is how I see it anyway. I also see it in a way as if you're applying stress, to move yourself outside of your comfort zone, to move yourself past an edge, to grow and expand, and you're doing that from a stressful place within your body, that is just recreating or re-solidifying that you need pressure in order to expand and grow, that you need to apply some kind of stress in order to move into a next level. And a lot of it's kind of contradictory when I think about this, when I lean into this for myself, because we don't want to have a foundation built on stress. We don't want to have the basic building blocks of what we're moving into built on pressure. We don't want to have that shaky foundation or that shaky structure, which stress is, right? So stress and dysregulation and emotional chaos and all of that stuff where we feel that rushed sense of urgency, that is not where I want to create a foundation for my next level. And so, can we shift our perspective instead of thinking, I need to apply pressure in order for myself to grow, in order for me to expand? And I need to think about things like, if I only had so much time to live, then I would be able to move into that expansion. I would be able to move into that expression of that next level. And so my question for you right now, before we get started, is, has that ever worked for you? Pressure is not good or bad. I think that there is a certain amount of pressure that we do apply on ourselves that help us move into the next thing from a regulated, settled space. I do think that when we apply pressure to ourselves, we can see it in different ways. So I was actually doing this outside with the horses this morning. I began a tapping session out there with the horses on this topic. So if you would like to catch that, it's about 20 minutes. It's not very long. It's not very much, but you can join the energy-led mompreneur space, and I'll be doing a lot more of those kinds of sessions outside, I think, with the horses. But anyway, it was just really interesting because horses are pressure animals. They do react to pressure in different ways, and it's our job and our responsibility as stewards of horses, as stewards of ourselves, and we apply this to ourselves as well, to understand how we work with pressure and how we can use it and leverage it for us and not against us. So for myself personally, if anybody asks me, if you only had X amount of time to live, what would you be doing? I'm gonna, no. I'm not gonna answer the question. It doesn't apply to me. I don't think that, because I have shifted into this more expansive way for myself personally, feeling that I get to choose the expansion. I get to choose the pressure. I get to choose the experience and the circumstances that will move me through into a new level or into a new, having a new reference point for myself in what it is that I'm moving into. And so in the energy-led mompreneur space last week, I talked about if we believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we are infinite, that our souls are infinite, that we are a shard of light or a fragment of energy or light from the whole source, the universe, the one, whatever you want to call it, God, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. If we are a piece of that, then we are limitless. We have unlimited amount of time. We have unlimited amount of energy. We have unlimited amount of resources, opportunities, possibilities. Unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. So why are we putting limitations on our expansion when we are unlimited? And that, I think, is a really interesting concept for me, because I think that we've habitually adopted this belief that we need pressure in order to expand, right? A little bit on that. And the first question that I want to share with you guys is all around pressure and why you think pressure is important to you. We're going to pull a card for this and do a tapping round. There's a couple other questions. I'm going to run and grab my notebook. Because I do think it was a really interesting conversation. And if you would like to learn more about it and get that full conversation, join the energy-led mompreneur space. It's a membership. It's free as of right now, and I will be beginning to offer it as a monthly membership, which will be paid by February 17th. So you have until February 16th if you want to be a founding member for free. Hop in there, get in there, and you will have it for free until you unsubscribe. So you could have it forever free. So the first question that I ask is, when you release pressure, what becomes possible, and why do you need pressure? What do you need pressure for? Why do you not feel that you could choose the expansion without the pressure? That's the prompt, and we're going to pull a card for that, and then we're going to move through a tapping round. Okay, so we've got this card, Happy. I'm using Colette Baron-Reid's Wisdom of the Oracle for this pull. It's one of my favorite decks. So this one was pulled in protection, which means it's a gentle hug and just a little bit different of a concept. So 26. I'm just gonna quickly take a look. Happy. So lighten up, because this is a time to be ridiculous and silly. See the world through the eyes of a clown. Don't take yourself or any situation right now too seriously. Have fun, be playful, and make laughter the order of the day. You'll be surprised by how everything just seems to fall into place when humor leads the way. So smile and enjoy each breath and each moment. Miracles lie in the silly things today. I love that. So this is a topic that is kind of silly. It is a little bit out there. It's like, whoa, what do you mean we're infinite? We have, one of the examples that I offered in the membership last week was like, if I believe in reincarnation personally for myself, I believe that that is a concept that can happen. And that if I don't get it done in this lifetime, I'm going to get it done in the next. So why am I putting the pressure on myself? Why am I putting limitations on myself? And when that relief comes off of me, I move into a place of acceptance. I move into a place of creativity and inspiration, and like the world opens up when I think about it without having this limitation or this barrier or this constriction or restriction placed on my time and what I want to do with my time. So this is happy, happy. Get silly, get cuckoo with this, like get a little bit out there. So we're going to start tapping on the side of the hand and say, even though in the past I've taken time quite seriously, I have really put a lot of pressure on myself and what I do with my time. And I love and accept this part of me today. When I think about things in the past, I think about all of the pressure, all of the restraint, all of the constriction that I've placed on what I'm doing with my time. And I'm here to love and accept myself anyway today. When I think of all of the time I've spent judging what I do with my time, trying to meet unrealistic expectations, trying to please everybody, and trying to keep the peace, I'd like to love and accept myself today. And just be open to this part of me who feels attached to pressure. So we're going to go to the top of the head now and say, there's a part of me that's attached to pressure. Eyebrow point. I need pressure in order to move. Side of the eye. I thrive under pressure. Underneath the eye. I do my best work when I'm under the deadline. Underneath the nose. When my body feels that pressure. Underneath the mouth. When I know that I have a deadline. Collarbone point. When I sense an expectation. Underneath the arm. There's something within me that moves. Underneath the chest. And I honor this part of me today. This point, this part of me that's kept me safe. Top of the head. This part of me that's kept me going. Eyebrow point. This part of me that's kept me moving. Side of the eye, so that I can keep up. Underneath the eye. How I feel when I think about pressure. Underneath the nose. The attachments that I have to applying pressure to myself. Underneath the mouth in order to expand and get things done. Collarbone point in order to get out of my comfort zone. Underneath the arms in order to move past an edge or a limit. Underneath the chest. I forgive myself for believing. Wrist point. That this is the only way it can be done. Top of the head. I forgive myself for believing that expansion. Eyebrow point. Comes from pressure. Side of the eye. I forgive myself for believing. Under the eye. That motivation and momentum. Under the nose. Comes from pressure. underneath the mouth. I've been carrying this belief for a long, long time. Collarbone point. This belief has been ingrained in me. Underneath the arms for generations. Underneath the chest. It stems from being in survival mode. Wrist points. But where I am today, top of the head, doesn't necessarily require survival mode. Eyebrow point. And so I wonder if I can open up to side of the eye. What becomes possible underneath the eye when I relieve the pressure underneath the nose. And I'm open and excited to see how this comes in new ways today. All right. So taking a nice gentle breath there and just really taking a breath. Take a breath in that, because again, we're on the edge of, this is essentially opening us up into a conversation that, yeah, I think it's being had in a lot of different places. And I think it's something that people can understand the concept mentally, but to really embody it, this is a belief I think that is lingering. This is a belief that I think is still very present in our society today, even in the spiritual society, or even in this spiritual community, and in the beliefs that they apply to their everyday life. I think I still see this like so much, where we apply this limitation in order to expand. We apply a limitation to our expansive abundance, or our infinite, or the limitless possibilities that we're able to step into, and apply a pressure there in order to expand. And I'm asking, inviting, and seeing how open, not how open, it doesn't matter. If you're open for this, amazing. If you're not open to this, amazing. If this is something that you're curious about, amazing. If this is something that you get some kind of an insight or an idea around later on, today, tomorrow, next week, next year, whatever, and you're like, shit, this is what she means, amazing. Right? So this is a jumping off point. This is just allowing you to open up to this possibility. And also, this is just an icebreaker for you to have this as a deeper conversation within yourself and around you, right? So your interpretation is the one that matters the most. So how do you interpret pressure? How do you interpret, expanding into limitlessness and infinite possibility? Right? And how do you expand into, and how do you just interpret that all for yourself? So the next question that we're going to kind of tap on here is, when we explore that relief. So for me, I find it very relieving to entertain the notion that everything is limitless. Everything has no timeline, has no deadline. For the greater part of me, for the soul part of me that's come back into this body, that's come back into this experience, as I kind of tune into these. I am a double Pisces, so this is not this is something that a lot of people are going to be like, what the fuck is she talking about? But, some of you don't have to be a Pisces to understand this, but there is that within me that I just know, like my soul knows that you're not, this is just a blip. And this is a blip that you make the most of, and that what you do, and that what you are doing, and that what you have done is as it should be, because that's how it happened. That's what it did. That's what happened. That's how it unfolded. So let's take a look at that relief, right? So if everything is as it should be, and you are making decisions, and you're choosing to relieve the pressure, and give yourself unconditional acceptance, and give yourself permission to play in the possibilities of what it means to relieve that pressure, what comes next? How do you feel about that in your body? Can you really tune into your body and be like, okay, if I had no time pressure today. And if I just allowed myself to move in the space that I needed to move in, to move at the pace I needed to move in, to move it with my energy, to move with what came up around me, to follow my guided insight and intuition, and to follow my inspired ideas, what would that mean for you today? And so, okay, so everything's in protection today. Well, not everything. We'll still do one card. So there's no place like home. Here's the regular card, right? No place like home. I love this, actually. I'm still going to look this up because, I love there's no place like home. But let's just see what we're taking a look at here. There are times when what is familiar and known is not the best choice. Human beings are memory-driven creatures, and we will look for certainty for what we know, even if the qualities we seek in other people and in external conditions are expressed in unhealthy ways. Avoid being too eager to find home. Choose something unfamiliar and trust that there you will find a new normal that supports your spirit. So, yeah, this is perfect, because as we move into that relief and as we move into that space where we feel into what is possible when we relieve or release the pressure, what are we, where's our ground? Where's, I think we've all built our lives to some degree around the pressure of expectation, the pressure of attachment, the pressure of having to do certain things within a certain timeline. We've built a life and built a structure of safety, security, stability, all on this pressure. This belief that we need to have a certain amount of pressure in order to make us move, in order to gain momentum, in order to expand, in order to grow, in order to be pushed out of where we are, our comfort zone, and into the next. So don't be too eager to find home in this. Get still using that happy card, explore, play, don't take it too seriously. And you know what? If time was not an issue, if you had an infinite amount of time, if you had an infinite amount of energy at your fingertips, which you do, play with that. Like, what becomes possible? What becomes secure now? What becomes stable? What becomes your new source of security and safety and stability? And when you move from that place, what becomes possible, right? So a lot of time, I think, when I think about this, sometimes the body feels a little unsure. It feels very expansive and it feels like it can actually get on board with this, but the mind comes in, it's like, what? No. We have a 24-hour clock we need to follow. We have deadlines, we have timelines, we have appointments, we have this, we have that, we have, kids, we have spouses, we have work, we have, what do we have that we are not allowing to move past? Like, can we look above that? Can we look past that? That's still a part of it, but can we look what's on the other side of that? Can we not be blinded by that belief that, time needs to be pressured, that time needs to be controlled, that there needs to be expectations around time? So tuning in with yourself right now, and just really give yourself a minute and be like, if there was no pressure on time, if there was no expectations of time, if there was no expectations of what I was supposed to be doing with my time right now, how do I feel in my body? Does it feel fun? Does it feel expansive? Does it feel chaotic and scary as fuck? Like, is it like, no, we made that container to hold us together. Like, this is what separates us from the animals, right? Like, and essentially it does, but we are still animals, right? So really just giving yourself a minute, tuning into that. What thoughts come up? What emotions come up? And allowing them to be there. We are kind of pushing up against an edge on this. And I'm not saying to jump. We are not saying to jump. We're not saying that this is gospel, that this is what you need to believe in. Everybody has their own beliefs. So believe that. Apply this to your beliefs and expand. So whatever you believe, what is just a little bit further on the other side of that belief? What does it make possible? What does it open up for you? Okay. So tapping on the side of the hand, say, even though I've had strong beliefs that I need pressure in order to fulfill my day, that I need pressure in order to stay motivated. That I need pressure in order to expand and grow. I love and accept this part of me deeply and completely. But I'm curious about what's on the other side of that. When I think about pressure, when I think about expectations, when I think about removing all of those and having more of an open conversation, an open container for my body, for my mind, and for all my emotions to flow through. I'm curious what comes up for me. And I give myself the time and space to witness this today. Okay, we're going to move to the top of the head and say, my whole life has been built. Eyebrow point. Around some kind of pressure or expectation. Side of the eye. Some kind of structure with time. Underneath the eye. I've had to follow the clock and calendar. Underneath the nose. I've had to move at a pace. Underneath the mouth. That has been learned and taught. Collarbone point. I've had to move at a pace. Underneath the arms. That wasn't quite mine. Underneath the chest. I've had to adjust my timing. Wrist points and my pace. Top of the head to meet the expectations. Eyebrow point of society. Side of the eye. I'm curious today. Underneath the eye. What's beyond that belief? Underneath the nose. If this was different. Underneath the mouth. If I changed this belief. Collarbone point. How would it feel in my body? Underneath the arms. Maybe it would feel too free. Underneath the chest. Maybe it would feel too overwhelming. Wrist points. Maybe it'd be too chaotic. Top of the head. And that's okay. Eyebrow point. Maybe I would be in disbelief. Side of the eye. Maybe there'd be a lot of doubt. Underneath the eye. So much resistance. Underneath the nose. That can't happen. Under the mouth. My life would fall apart. Collarbone point. Without this structure, my life would fall apart. Underneath the arms. Things would be chaotic. Underneath the chest. I'd never do anything. Wrist points. Nothing would ever get done. Top of the head. So many things would be neglected. Eyebrow point. I can feel this mounting responsibility. Side of the eye. All of this responsibility. Underneath the eye. In doing things conventionally. Underneath the nose. In doing things in a way that is expected. underneath the mouth, in a way that is accepted, underneath, or sorry, collarbone point, in a way that won't rock the boat, underneath the arm. I give myself permission today, underneath the chest, to gently explore this point, to get curious how I would think, feel, and act. Top of the head. If pressure was completely removed, eyebrow point from time. All right. So just taking a nice little breath there. Again, just leaning in, just being curious about what is coming up for you. There's 3 different pillars that I kind of work with in this work when I work with clients, when I work with myself. It's first get curious about what it is, and then get familiar with that curiosity. So when things come up, you're curious about, but you're pushing up against a block or a barrier or an edge and it's sharp and you're like, ooh, you're like, damn, that's not, I can't wrap my head around that. That feels bad in my body. This feels really emotional for me. That's okay. So take a step back, get curious again, and then just keep on, it's like you keep on having that conversation with yourself. This is what I mean when you stick with it, not to get stuck with it. So stick with things a little bit, very tentatively, very gently if you need to, very tenderly, right? You just want to ask yourself, well, why is this making me feel this way? And then what's the thing behind the thing, right? And so when you get familiar with that, when you know that, okay, I'm going to think about this thing and it's going to push these buttons and I'm going to feel this way and I'm going to react this way. Okay, and I did that. That's how it happened. Okay, so now that I've gone through that motion, those motions, how do I feel now? Can I still look at the thing that created that chain reaction? Can I come back to that thing and get familiar with it? Get to know how I react with things, get to know why I'm reactive to certain things, get to know why certain things push certain buttons within me. And then can I sit with it a little bit longer? Can I ask myself a little bit more about why it is that I feel that way about that thing? And this is where the witness comes in. And then from that place, we can get into the expansion. And you're already expanding even as you're getting familiar and curious and familiar and curious. You're expanding all the way through that. So when we come into this conversation and we kind of disrupt the societal norm or whatever we've been conditioned to believing around time, part of us, if you're in this space, part of you have heard, like people say, there's no such thing as time. Time is an illusion. Time is a man-made concept, therefore it is not actual, the ultimate truth. It is not with a capital T. Hopefully this is still working because it just flickered. Anyway, truth is, it is not truth with a capital T. So what does that mean then, right? So then we kind of come undone a little bit and we're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, I'm going through my own personal stuff with this right now and I'm reading a certain book that's blowing my freaking mind. And I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. And I'm just like, this is mind-boggling. This is like actually mind-boggling. If this is true, if all of this information is correct, WTF, like WTF. Anyway, and so as I do that, as I move through that, I hit those moments where I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, just like take a break, do something else, get grounded, come back to it. Take a look at more information if you need to. Take a look at the things that are supporting this claim, and then feel into how it feels with your body. And every time I come back to it, it feels a little bit more true. It makes a little bit more sense. And I'm trying to be as open as possible still because there is not one or the other. The thing that I have learned the most over the last few years is that whatever you're looking for, whatever you're researching, whatever you're searching for, there are claims, there are stats, there are facts to support that. And there are claims and stats and facts that go against it. So, I mean, this is the day of information. We're in the era of information and it's just going to get crazier, I think. But this is the time to start questioning, to start observing, and to really start taking both sides of a story. And then what do you believe? Because that's what it's going to come down to. That's what's really gonna come down to. And do you have that relationship within yourself to understand that a couple things could be true, but what's true for you? And that's going to be the thing that matters the most. And this is where it's not just going to be what you intellectually know. It's not going to be what you have seen in the past or what you are experiencing right now. That is a part of it. It's not going to be how it makes you feel, although that is a part of it. It's going to be your intuition. It's going to be how it feels on a gut level. It's going to be how, some things aren't going to even make sense and you're going to be like, but this is what it is for me. So last tapping round. Let's see here. Yeah, let's pull a card on when you release pressure, what becomes possible. What is the thing above the thing, right? So what is kind of like that, what internal higher self guidance, soul self guidance, universal guidance that we need in order to apply this to some place in our life? What else do we need to know? Okay. Serendipity. Serendipity doodah. Okay. Okay. So, and this was again in the protection mode. So we're going to see what protection mode. I think all of this, because it's such an interesting conversation, it can be a really out there concept and we need our minds wrapped around it, but we need it to be loving. We need it to be tender. If you're still in this conversation with me, then you're obviously curious about it on a deeper level in some way, shape, or form. And so be gentle with yourself, right? If you're like, fuck, this is blowing my mind. Or if you're like, this is bullshit. And if you're experiencing doubt and you're being reactive with this, it's okay. It's okay. We're just pushing up against something that is your safety, your security, the structure. So when we look at serendipity in this way, perhaps you felt almost certain that serendipitous events were meant to lead to something better. It was supposed to be the perfect business, or that person gave you your heart, or that person you gave your heart to was supposed to be the one, yet it all fell apart. Consider this. Sometimes synchronicity and serendipity come together to lead you directly into difficulties in order to deliver an important lesson you need to learn before you hit the jackpot. Don't get caught up in the drama of disappointment. Okay, perfect. This is exactly what we need. So we have our set of beliefs that we have, been carrying, we've been cultivating. And, we hit up on things, especially this day and age, we hit up on things where we are beginning to second guess those things. We're questioning, we're curious, we are inquisitive, we're inquiring, right? It doesn't mean that the whole world needs to come crashing down because, our beliefs are changing. If our nervous system is regulated, if we are taking care of ourselves in some way, shape, or form that is keeping us grounded in our own personal space, within our body, within our mind, within our emotions, if we are taking care of our health and well-being, as things shift and change, we are going to be able to move and roll with those changes without being disappointed or without being, what does it say? Because I love this line. It's something that I actually remember from this card. Don't get caught up in the drama of disappointment. So we are gonna push up against things. We're gonna have some reactions. We're gonna be like, oh my God, blah, blah. We're gonna freak out a little bit. And then we're gonna be like, okay, that thing may be in question now, but my life is not in question. I'm here, I'm sitting right here, I'm sitting right now, I'm doing these things, I'm living my life in certain ways. I mean, I go straight to cleaning the house, I go to mucking the barn, I go to be with the horses, I go to be outside, I sit with my dogs, I, sit with my family, I sit with my kids, I get super present with my kids, I watch what they do, I just be in the environment and in the energy of what they're doing in that moment. Same with my husband. I sit down and I get super present, and it's not like we have to have a conversation about anything. It's just that I'm very, very in the moment witnessing how stable life is right now. And when I can generate and cultivate that stability within me, I don't give a shit what goes on in the world around me, right? I do, but I don't, because I know that I'm capable of, being resourceful enough and pulling from my own personal source of gathering the information that I need to know and then making an informed decision from within based on what's going on in my gut, what's going on in my head, and how I feel when I act on that new belief or that new information or whatever it might be. So serendipity, don't get caught up in the drama of disappointment. So if things are not as it seems, if things did not turn out as you expected, then how can we tap into that? Which is what we're going to do right now for our last round. So taking a moment and just tapping on the side of your hand, take a breath. Maybe this conversation applies to something completely different to you than in the concept of time. And so just take a moment and say, okay, if I were to relieve pressure in this area of my life, what would become possible? And now say, even though in the past, expectations and pressure have given me structure, stability, and safety. And that's coming into question. That's being questioned. And I love and accept where I am right now. Even though things within my world are being questioned, are being inquired about, are shifting and changing. That doesn't mean that I cannot move with these shifts and changes. I give myself permission to move with these shifts and changes. And I love and accept where I am today. Even though in the past, I have sourced my security, safety, and stability on external things, on beliefs made on what I've learned in the past, on actions that I've taken based on these beliefs from the past. I'm giving myself permission today to source my safety, security, and stability from within myself. And I love and accept this new possibility today. Top of the head. This new possibility. Eyebrow point. That I don't have to have as much pressure. Side of the eye. That I don't need to have as much expectations. Underneath the eye. In order to move me and guide me. Underneath the nose. I don't need to have as much pressure. Underneath the mouth in order to gain momentum. Collarbone point. I don't need so much pressure. Underneath the arms in order to expand and grow. Underneath the chest. I think sometimes I'll be able wrist points to choose the expansion, the growth, and the new beliefs. Top of the head without being pressured. Eyebrow point as much as I was in the past. Side of the eye. It's going to be easier to flow with things. Underneath the eye. I won't feel so rigid and structured. Underneath the nose. It won't feel like the rug's being pulled out from under me. Underneath the mouth. When I look at things without as much pressure. Collarbone point. When I release some of these expectations. underneath the arms. I can meet myself where I'm at today. Underneath the chest. I can hold space while I get wrapped up. Wrist points. Wrapped up in the drama. Top of the head. Wrapped up in the reaction. Eyebrow point. And then I can get curious again. Side of the eye. What is this opportunity offering me? Underneath the eye. What am I being invited in to see? Underneath the eye, or underneath the nose, sorry. When I release this pressure, underneath the mouth, when I release these expectations, collarbone point, what becomes possible? All right. So give yourself a minute. Take a nice gentle breath. Take a sip of water. Or whatever it is you're drinking, if you have anything. And just be in that moment for a second and just be like the possibilities. I get excited when I think about this because I have been working through my own stuff, but to the next level where I am actually excited to be in uncertain places and spaces. I am trying to work my way. It's a process and it's a practice. It's not always there for me, but I can feel it starting to be more a part of the conversation that I have with myself and with others when I say, we don't know. Things are uncertain. It's unknown. There's no certainty about anything, but I know that I'm capable of making this uncertain certain because I've done it all my life. Everybody has done this every time in your life that you have started something, that you began something, a relationship, a job, this work for yourself. If you've ever been stretched into new beliefs and a new experience, just a new energy, a new atmosphere, it was all uncertain. It was all unknown. And now, kids, if you have kids, that was, when you were pregnant as a mom, you were pregnant 1 minute and not the next, right? And in that split second, you went from being an uncertain pregnant woman to being an uncertain mother or parent at that point. And so it's really interesting when you can take a look at that and be like, okay, in those moments it was uncertain and now it's certain. I've got kids. It's just like it's not even it's a big thing. There's still a lot of learning curves, don't get me wrong. But that initial shift from being an expecting parent to being a parent of a child, is one of the biggest uncertainties to certainties that you get, and it happens in the blink of an eye, right? And so just really taking a look at applying that to certain places. So if you relieve your pressure, if you release the expectation and the pressure that was placed on you, looking back, you would know how to handle a newborn. You would know how to handle a toddler, depending on how old your kids are, right? My kids are 10 and 8. So I would, like, looking back, I'm like, oh, if I could go back, what I know now, going back, would be a completely different story. And I often think about that, if I was a mom now with young kids or a baby, like, what would I know now? And how would that change the whole experience of motherhood for me? And so I kind of play with that a little bit, right? I release that pressure. And this, I'm just going to end on, is where tapping can get really friggin' cool and really friggin' interesting, because you can go into past memories, past experiences, and you can meet yourself where you are to process things. You can go in advanced EFT, in advanced EFT sessions, you can go back and be in that space and in that time, and you can resource what you know now, and you can give that to the part of you that didn't know then. And this is the work that has transformed so much of the way that I parent, the way that I do business. It's all a work in progress still. But anyway, it's just super fascinating. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know. I do have bundle sessions available for one-on-one work. I also have energy management sessions. So if you want to dig deeper into your astrology and your numerology chart and apply this concept to, you know, how you move throughout your day, for scheduling, for how you show up in certain areas of your life, that energy management session is amazing for that, as well as progressed moon readings. And also, if you're curious, if you're still hanging out with me right here, right now, and you are interested in your numerology chart, I am offering free mini blueprints to a handful of people this month. So if you would like that, it's free, it's complimentary. I just send you a PDF with a short little voice clip around what, you know, with a little breakdown of it all. And then if you'd like to go further, that's what the energy management sessions are, or progress moon reading, whatever is, we can discuss it at that point. But anyway, if that's something that you are curious about, let me know, and reach out, DM me on Instagram is probably the best place to get a hold of me. And let me know how this lands with you. Let me know if this concept is something that is just like totally out there. This concept that we are limitless, that we have infinite time, energy, lives, and that what we don't get done in this life, we get done in the next life, and that when we take away those limitations and that restriction and that pressure and expectation around time and what we do with our time, that it can open up, you know, massive amounts of opportunity and possibility. And yeah, just let me know how this lands with you. How do you interpret time and pressure and all the rest of it as well? I'm always curious to see how people interpret things through their own unique lens. So have an amazing rest of your day. We will see you all next week for another intuitive tapping break. If you have suggestions for me for what you would like to tap on, does not have to be this out there. It can be, you know, I do tapping breaks on, you know, doing the dishes and just regular everyday mom life stuff or everyday entrepreneurial stuff. So yeah, if you have any oh my God, I'm blanking. Anyway, if you have anything that you would like to tap on, if you'd like me to incorporate it into another tapping break, let me know. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys. Bye.